What's up, farmer family? How y'all doing today? Today, we're going to be talking about Pickl's wide body paddles, the Hurricane Pro 16mm and 14mm. I have a code for this company. It's Farmer Lanky Pickleball. You will get 10% off if you use the code. Thought I should let you know that. I'm not sure if the offer still stands, but used to when people use my codes, they would get a thing of stretch laces with their order. Not sure if it still stands. If it does, I love those stretch laces. I use them in my pickleball shoes. I've had the same pair of stretch laces in my shoes that I did the original review on, and that's been so many months back. I thought they would have, ripped by now, but they haven't. And I just slide my feet in them. You don't have to loosen them. You don't have to do anything like that. But yeah, we're going to get into these wide bodies though. That's what you guys are here for. Y'all don't care about me talking about the stretch laces anymore. But yeah, let's get into this review, y'all. First thing I want to talk about is the pop of this paddle. Now, if you're going to compare this to a lot of the wide bodies in the market, I'm going to refer to the 16 first. So, the 16mm is one of the more plush, softer feeling wide bodies that are currently on the market. The other ones that are down there with it would be the Volair Mach 2 Forza, and realistically, I can't think of any more that are as control-oriented as these two are. These two are so similar that if you have either one of them, you're going to be able to control it. There's not going to be a drastic amount of pop for speed ups or anything like that. So if you're wanting a really poppy paddle, this isn't going to be one of them. Now, when it comes to the 14mm, there's not going to be like a crazy difference in pop, but it is a little bit poppier, much like the Volair Mach 2 Forza's 14mm is. So pop-wise, you're not going to get a drastic amount of pop out of any of these. Even the 14mm, you're going to get a little more pop, but it's not going to be overwhelming by any means. And in terms of power, these are definitely in the bottom in terms of power for wide bodies. When I say these, I'm talking about the 16mm, the 14mm, and they're also very comparable to the Volair Mach 2 Forza. So if you're wanting something that's going to lean more control-oriented, like I'm about to mention here in this next part, this is a crazy good paddle. Now, when it comes to the control of these paddles, you've heard me talk about the pop and the power. Usually if a paddle is lacking in pop, they're going to be a lot better in control. These are no exception. The 16mm is a reset, drop, and dinking machine. Like if you're messing up with this, it's not going to be the paddle. You're not going to be able to be like, man, this paddle's making me pop stuff up. Nope. This is a control-oriented wide body paddle. So I would recommend this to people who are not aggressive. If you're a very aggressive player, you're going to want a poppier style wide body. But if you're the resetter and the right side player, this one would be a paddle I would look to if I was wanting to block and dink and set up my left-sided player, which is the forehand in the middle, realistically. But yeah, in terms of 14, it's just going to be a little bit less controllable. But I did find that this 14mm is still crazy controllable to some of the other stuff that's on the market right now. So if you're wanting something with just a tad bit more pop than what the 16mm offers, I would go with the 14, but just know that you are going to sacrifice a little control. That's just the way it is. When it came to the spin of these two, the 16mm got 2,107 RPMs and the 14mm got 2,176. Okay, top tier, straight up top tier. Anything over 2,000 is going to be crazy good for your game. You're going to have crazy top spin, your slices, chops, anything you do, there's going to be plenty of spin. This is one of the best in terms of spin. If you're a spinster and you love the wrist action, you're a ping pong player, this is going to be one of the paddles that I'd be like, hey, try this bad boy. But yeah, the 14mm generally get a little bit more spin than the 16. It's not like a drastic amount or anything like that. But yeah, spin-wise, top notch, for sure. When it came to the swing weight of these paddles, the 14mm was 106 and the 16mm was 108. Super light. If you've played with an elongated paddle or a wide body paddle, it is going to feel like you're literally swinging a feather through the air. That is the difference in these wide bodies. These wide bodies are never going to be hard to swing. Basically, anybody that plays pickleball can pick these up and use them and not have to worry about their strength causing them to not be able to get the paddle around. That is one of the big pluses. The other big plus is the sweet spot, which I'll be talking about here in a minute. But in terms of weight, my 14mm weighed 7.7 ounces. And my 16mm weighed 8.1 ounces. The 7.7 ounce 14mm is pretty light. And realistically, I would slap a bunch of lead on that. Like a bunch. But yeah, that's the overall weight. And the swing weight, the swing weights are always really good on the wide body paddles unless something crazy happens. Now, when it came to the twist weight, the 14 millimeter had a 6.57 twist weight, and the 16 millimeter had a 6.60 twist weight. Okay, these twist weights are nowhere near as high as some of these other paddles that have the 7.0 twist weights. But with the twist weight that it has, you're not going to have any problems with the paddle, twisting around in your hand. Then if you add lead to the side or tungsten tape to the side for stability, that's also going to help with the twisting. And if you guys are looking for tungsten tape, Pickleball Effect has it on Amazon. He sells directly on Amazon. It's not toxic. That's what I would get instead of lead going forward. And you also get to support another paddle reviewer. But yeah, when it comes to the sweet spots on these are massive. Okay, y'all, these are wide body paddles. Like at this point with wide bodies, it is almost ridiculous to even talk about the sweet spot. Of course, it's a big sweet spot. The whole paddle is basically a sweet spot, except for when you get out near the edges. The same thing with the 14 millimeter. The 14 millimeter will have a little bit smaller sweet spot, but with a little bit of lead tape, I feel like you can open that up and increase the sweet spot very similarly to the 16 millimeter, but with the added bonus of having a little bit extra pop. So when it comes to value for your money, this is $160. And as you noticed in the whole review, I said it was very comparable to the Volair Mach 2 Forza. Now, there's another paddle that I want to mention that I didn't really mention throughout the rest of the video, and it is the 11624 Jelly Bean 16 millimeters. Okay, it plays very similar to the Pikkl Hurricane Pro and the Volair Mach 2 Forza. It has a little bit more power and debatably more pop than both of these. And it's $100, but it did not have the RPMs that this paddle did. So it depends on what you're wanting. If you're wanting value for your money, I would say the Jelly Bean is probably the route I would go, since Jelly Bean is just disrupting the wide body market right now with its overall value. But if you're wanting the extra, I think it was like 200 and something RPMs or 100 and something RPMs extra with the Pikkl paddle, then it might be worth the money. But overall right now, the 11624 Jelly Bean is going to be a paddle, you're going to want to recommend if someone wants a somewhat plush feeling Gen 2 wide body. But yeah, if you've used the Pikkl Hurricane Pro and the Jelly Bean, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the differences of this, because there's not drastic differences playing with them, and there's not a drastic difference playing with the Volair Mach 2 Forza. They're all three generally pretty soft compared to the other wide bodies on the market right now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. Until next time, stay safe. Have a good day. Drink plenty of water. Peace, y'all.